The United States says it's taking control of 4 fuel shipments from Iran to Venezuela. The Justice Department said it was the largest seizure of Iranian oil ever made by the US authorities. It said the cargo from 4 vessels amounted to more than 1.1 million barrels and was now in US custody. New Zealand's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has announced a 12-day extension to the country's Covid-19 restrictions. That's after an initial cluster of just a few cases in the city of Auckland has now grown to 29. The country's been a world leader in containing coronavirus. New Zealand went 102 days without a community transmission before these cases were discovered. 7 African countries will begin administering coronavirus antibody tests next week. The Africa Centres for Disease Control and Prevention says the testing is part of an effort to understand how widespread the infection is on the continent. Liberia, Sierra Leone, Zimbabwe, Cameroon, Nigeria and Morocco are the first group of countries to have signed up to the programme.
The royal family and armed forces will lead the country in a series of events today to mark the 75th anniversary of victory over Japan Day, the end of the Second World War.
71,000 British and Commonwealth soldiers died during the war against Japan. Veterans will attend a service of remembrance at the National Memorial Arboretum in Staffordshire. That's where the Prince of Wales, Duchess of Cornwall and the Prime Minister will lead a 2-minute silence, which will be held at 11 o'clock.
Well, as you can see and hear there in the last hour, a military piper has been performing at the National Memorial Arboretum in Staffordshire.
And we can now take you to what will be the wreath-laying ceremony at the Cenotaph in London. It will be happening there this morning live, and there will be a series of people, obviously, to mark the 75th anniversary of victory over Japan Day, which signalled the end of the Second World War in the Far East.
What we're expecting over the next few minutes, our camera's just lingering there on some of the messages that are placed on the cenotaph itself. Across the day, a series of events, as you know, started at 6 o'clock with those pipers at the Arboretum. That's very much the centre of the sequence of events that will be happening a little later on. But for the moment, we're going to concentrate here at the Cenotaph in London, of course. Over the years, the centre for so many people of commemorations of those who've lost their lives. We're expecting Ben Wallace, who is the Secretary of State for Defence, who will be the first to lay a wreath at the Cenotaph. We're just awaiting those ceremonial moments, and alongside him will be current and serving members of the military.
Let's remind you of victory over Japan Day, why it was celebrated on the 15th of August in 1945. It marked the end of World War II. It was the moment that the Allies marked victory over Japan. There had been rumours of it happening. At the time, US President Harry S. Truman broke the news at a press conference at the White House at 7 p.m. on the 14th of August. And then later, Britain's new Prime Minister, Clement Attlee, confirmed it by saying, "The last of our enemies is laid low." And it was the following day that Japan's Emperor Hirohito was heard on the radio for the first time ever when he announced the surrender. So that was on the 15th of August, 1945, 75 years ago.
The royal family and the armed forces will lead the country in a series of events today to mark the 75th anniversary of victory over Japan Day and the end of the Second World War.
Earlier this morning, the Defence Secretary, Ben Wallace, laid a wreath at the Cenotaph in London in a private early morning ceremony in memory of all those who served.
And Japan has also marked the 75th anniversary of VJ Day with a sombre ceremony in Tokyo.
Emperor Naruhito expressed deep remorse over the wartime past, while Prime Minister Shinzo Abe pledged never to repeat the tragedy of war. Officials all wore face masks at a scaled-down ceremony because of the coronavirus outbreak.